Hello, everyone. This is DNS lab that I am doing. Uh, Before doing the lab, we do some configuration. First of all, we do ping 4224 to know that we have ping. Okay, that's okay. And always be sure that you have changing your host name, so you can do it like this: sudo nano etc host name. For example, I'm gonna change this one to Hamid. So that's like a prerequisites for doing all labs that I'm doing here. So then you can reboot your operating system. So then your host name will change. So the labs that I'm doing is DNS lab, and I'm doing a step by step this lab. So log into Ubuntu, and then yeah, I have here my username. Do you see that? So because you want to do all the commands as a sudoer, so then you do sudo -s. So you do it one time, and then you're sure that, okay, your user is sudoer. So then you don't need to put sudo in front of all commands. The first command that we have is ns lookup vcc.ca. So that gives you that IP address of VCC. So if you do it with host.vcc.ca, so then it gives you that these IP addresses, right? So if you do it with digvcc.ca, so this one has more detail and give you more information like a record, but the result is the same as this one and this one, right? So, a step two of a lab is asking like this. So if you want to ask like ns lookup vcc.ca for 4.2.2.2.4. So that means that you're asking 4.2.2.4, what is vcc.ca? What's the record of vcc.ca. So it gives this information like this IP address is resolved. So 35 AM 183 240 163, and yeah, the other 199 79 105 132. So I'm asking this server. It was not localhost. So then I can do this command with dig, like dig @8.8.8.8 vcc.ca. So this time I'm using the command. I'm using this server. I'm asking this server what is vcc.ca, right? So if you do many times, then you see that usually your query time should be lower, right? Because you have local cache usually. But if you don't have a local cache, you can enable it. We're gonna do it in next step. App get, so we are on first step of installing bind. So app get install bind 9 and bind 9 utils. So then you're gonna install bind 9. So you know that etc configuration, the configuration usually it will save under etc. So switch to etc bind, and there here, if you do cat named .conf, this file contains the information of your local DNS and the zones, right? So they can set this one, name.conf.option. That's the first one. So I do nano to edit that one, nano etc. I'm in etc bind, so then I do it name.conf.option. So you see that here we have forwarders, And also here we can enable recursive. That recursive actually enable the cache. I'm going to do it at the end of here, basically, recursion, and then yes. Don't forget to put semicolon at the end of that. Control X will save it, and then yes, we'll save that on the file. So now if you do service bind 9 restart, it will restart the bind 9, right? Do now dig at localhost. That means I ask localhost, what is the IP address of google.com? So basically, in 84 milliseconds, it will respond and resolve this IP address. So if you do it many times, look, the second time is going to be 0 milliseconds. So the query, when we monitor the query time, this one is going to be lower number because you have a local cache. I explained this kind of a thing during the course. And the step 5 is asking you to do to enable the forwarders. So then you can do it like this. If you come back to name.conf.option and enable the forwarders, so you basically you're enabling this part, uncommenting this section, and do 8.8.8.8, 8.8.8.8, and then Control X save. So then if you do service bind 9 restart, and now if you do dig, for example, my website, talabi.ca, so you see that 88 milliseconds resolve this IP address. If I do it many times, sorry, if I do it the second time, you see that 4 milliseconds. So the thing is that we enable forwarder, and now our like query goes to 8.8.8 and asks 8.8.8 about resolving Talibi.ca. Step 1 of configuring zone. So for configuring zone, we have named.conf.local. So which file it is? This file, right? So I'm gonna edit this one, named.conf.local. And you see here, we don't have any zone. I can create zone. For example, I create a forward lookup. This 2// is a comment. That means that we are not executing this part of our command. So I create a zone, my zone, and then type of zone, I create a master zone, and then I have a file, etc. So I haven't created this database, but I'm going to create later. etc bind and db dot my zone. So I close this and I create a reverse lookup. So again, this is like a title for this section I am putting, and is a comment. So zone. So you know that this one basically was 192.168.1. So in reverse lookup query is going to be 1.168.192. And then in address dot rpath. Okay, and then you open this one, type master and file etc bind db.1.168.192. Okay, then you close this. So I created forward lookup query and reverse lookup query. Step 2 is, so I'm gonna save this configuration. The step 2 is asking you to copy from local and 127 database. So basically you have two databases, this one for the reverse lookup query and this one for forward lookup query. So I'm gonna copy that one like this, cpdb.local, and I'm gonna write it to db.myzone. And the other one, cp.db.127 db.1.168.192. That means that now I have created two databases. Look, now I have two databases. One of them is this one, and the other one is this one. So both of them now um, I can create my own record and customize record. So I'm gonna go to first one for forward lookup query. That's a database, nanodb.myzone, and here there are many things that I explained during course. So here, when you're changing your because this is like a template from local, so you should change it to my zone, and this one also to my zone. And then serial number, as I said before, if you're changing this file, it should add, it should be more than 2. So you can change it, for example, to 3 and 4, any number more than 2. So that's for this part. And based on the document, you should create some A records. So basically this part, NS1, you can create a name server record like NS1 dot my zone. For the A record, you can put the IP address. These are sample IP address 192.168 192.168.1.1, and then we are not using IP version 6. We are using another IP address, for example, 142.1.197.60 for NS1. So I put here for um, NS1, and for host one, host one, I put here in, and then A, and then put here 192.168.1.60. Okay, so that's my customized DB for my zone, right? Then I'm gonna edit also the database of reverse lookup query. So db.1.168.192. So basically this one also should be my zone. So we have configuration this of this one under step 4, root dot my zone, and the serial number, because there is 1, I'm going to change it, for example, to 4. And what else? So we have to add here our NS for reverse lookup query, my zone. Always when you're using reverse lookup query database, so you're using PTR record. So I forgot to add NS1 here also, NS1.myzone. And then here we have the last octet as 60 PTR, and then host1.myzone. Host1.myzone. Okay, then Control X and save that data. If you have done correctly until step 4, so then if you do RNDC reload, basically you should receive error. So let me check, for example, here from this one. Yes, so you see that I have error here. So then if you copy this part, basically it will tell you that, okay, I copied again. That's a good example how to troubleshoot if you face any error. So you see that I have um, failed name service start request to quit too quickly, failed result exit code, and let me see that above this line. Um, so here you see that uh, etc name.conf line 15 missing semicolon. Okay, so we should come back to that one to resolve the issue. So I'm gonna come back to nano etc bind and then name.conf. Sorry, basically name.conf.local file, local file. So which step we missed semicolon? Line 15. So one of these lines doesn't have the semicolon. If I compare with you see that this line forgot to put semicolon and also this one. Let's save it and then do RNDC reload. Reload. You see that again we have failed. Let me see that what is the error again. Maybe we have an error, or maybe we should uh, reload the database. Still is saying that that line missing semicolon line 15 before the zone and include. You check it carefully. That one name.conf.local. So here I think type master file etc bind um, is correct. And also this part is correct. Yeah, I don't see any error. Let me restart my service to see that it works. Service bind and restart. Yeah, I don't have any error. So if I do RNDC reload, you see that now server reload successful. So it was like a semicolon that I forgot to put it. So step 6, verify your configuration. So you can do dig outside local host, my zone. So basically you should have this result. So basically my zone should return 192.168.1.1. And if you do dig outside local host, host 1.my zone, this one should return 192.168.160, which is correct. And this is mapped to host 1. Dot my zone, that's the second screenshot. And dig at sign localhost -x 192.168.160, which is reverse lookup. -x is for reverse lookup query and should return your PTR record and should map to host 1 dot my zone. Look here, forward lookup query host 1 my zone is 192.168.160. When you're asking which IP address is 192.168.160, then it should return dot host 1 dot my zone. Okay, so then we have a split DNS with bind, which that part I'm gonna create nano named.conf.local. I'm gonna create here another zone. For example, zone talibi.ca, right? So then under here again, type master. Also, I'm gonna create a file for database etc. This time I'm gonna um, put semicolon. I'm not gonna forget semicolon at the end of this line, db.talibi.ca for that one. And look, say you put curly bracket and then semicolon. Okay. Uh, it's very sensitive. If you forget any part like this double quotation or semicolon at the end of this line, you receive error. But I show you how to troubleshoot. So then if you do, now we need a database. cpdb.local db.talabi.ca, right? So I copy local database to talabi.ca. Now if you nano db.talabi.ca, look, now we have this sample database. So I'm gonna customize this one. So this local host should be talabi.ca. This part also should be talabi.ca. Serial number, you should add more than 2, like 5, for example. Then NS, for NS, I put NS1 at Talib, NS1.talabi.ca. And for a record, for example, I put a sample IP address of 142.232.197, 27, the same as the document. And for NS1, so this part, basically, you put 142.232.197.60, and then for www in a record, you put this IP address, 142.232.197.250. Okay, so basically, if I want to show you what we are doing here, look, if you do look ns lookup talabi.ca, I did it, talabi.ca. So basically, my IP address is 174. 208.236.171. I'm faking this record. I'm putting this fake record, and like someone is sitting here, or this IP address can sniff the traffic. So if you do service bind9 restart, and now if you do dig assign localhost, that means ask localhost, what is now www.talabi.ca? Look, it will return 142.232.197.250, which is not similar to the IP address that we have. So the real IP address is this one, but fake IP address that we got is this one. So if you also ask this way, talabi.ca, you also have 27, which is not the real IP address. Okay, that's the difference, the result that you get for step 5. All right, this is lab 5. I'm gonna see, sorry, this is lab DNS, and I'm gonna see you in the next lab. Hello, everyone. I'm doing Nginx lab. So basically, Nginx lab is after your Apache. So look, I'm gonna clear my screen. So my Apache server now is running. You know that 2 web servers cannot run on a one server, but we're gonna learn Docker section how to run multiple web server. But now for this step, if you do service Apache 2 status, look, is running, right? So you do service Apache 2 stop. So now stop. So now you install apt-get install Nginx. So you're gonna install Nginx. So that means that if you now open the browser and do HTTP localhost, look, HTTP, I should skip that one. HTTP localhost. So you receive basically this page. Why? Because previous lab, if you look at here, I'm here, cd var www.html. Look, I have here index.html, also have info.php from Apache Web Server. So if you remove these two files, for example, rm index.html and info.php. So look, now if you refresh the page, it will show up the first page of the Nginx. That means that it will read this file. All right, so that's the first page of Nginx. As I said, do not forget to stop your Apache first. And so here we will learn about configuration of Nginx nano etc Nginx and then nginx.conf, right? So basically here we have the configuration of Nginx that you see here. And then we want to have a reverse proxy for that one. So you go to nano etc nginx sites available. So for this one also we have site available. My test.local. We're gonna create this one. It doesn't exist, but we create this one. So here you should put that commands that we have under step 4 in the document. So server and then listen port 80. Then we have server underline name my test dot local. Do not forget to put semicolon at the end of each line. Location slash and then curly bracket. Proxy. You're using proxy underline pass http www.yahoo.com, and then we have include etc nginx proxy underline prompts. So I forgot to put here semicolon, okay? And so basically you're gonna close this one and then close this one, okay? I think looks good. So let me save this configuration. If we have any error, we can resolve the issue. So you should also create a symbolic link from which file. Basically, if you see the etc nginx sites enable, look, we have default file here, right? So I'm gonna create a symbolically ln-s from sites available my test. So we have my test local to here to site enable. So look, now I have my test.local file as a symbolic link here. So then I'm gonna change also my etc hosts here. Basically, I put 127.0.0.1 also as my test.local. So that means my test.local is equal 127.0.0.1. So last part is asking, step 7 is asking to systemctl restart nginx. So you see that I have error. So let's see what is the error. That's a good one that we can also troubleshoot a little. So let's see what is the error. So it's asking you, okay, unknown directive location under etc. So the error is coming from this file. So I'm gonna go to etc Nginx sites available. So here, um, if I go to this folders, sorry. Also, we have it here as symbolic link. You can nano my test.local. Because this one is symbolic link, you can change either of them. So this file, look at this file. So I put here location, maybe here is coming from here. Should have a space, proxy underline pass, and include etc nginx proxy underline prompts. Right, so should be good now. So let me now restart my nginx. Look, now is good. Okay, so then the last part, you should open the tab and do http mytest.local. So basically, we have like a reverse proxy to yahoo.com. Right, that's lab nginx. So I see you in the next lab. Hello, everyone. I'm doing Apache lab. So what we should do for this lab, apt-get update, first step, and then at the first step also ask for you to install Apache 2. Do not forget something that I mentioned in the previous lab. So change your host name and also make your user sudoer. So apt-get install Apache 2. See that? Then you install Apache 2. So these are modules that you're installing. And then if your installation is successful, so then you can open up your browser and check your local web server. So I opened the Firefox and should be able to see the result of Apache. So if you type here localhost is 127.0.0.1 is your local host. So you see that that's the first page of Apache. If you type also 127.0.0.1 is the same. Okay, so uh, then you can switch to CD. The location of a file is here, right? So I have index.html. So that's the main this page, right? So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna use rm index.html. I'm gonna remove this file, create my own file, nano index.html. So here you create a h1 tag, for example. This is my web page, and you close the h1 tag. That's a simple header tag that we have in HTML. So you save this file. So now if you refresh this page or even either this page, you see that that's the result of your page, your first page. Step 4 is asking you to install Apache, PHP Apache module. So when you want to search something on the their Debian distribution, you can use app cache search. For example, I'm looking for PHP module, for example. But if you do it here, like you have tons of PHP, but I'm looking for that one which is related to grep, is limit your search to Apache. So look now, these are modules for Apache. So I'm gonna install this one, libapache 2 mod-php. So apt-get install lib um, Apache 2 mod dash PHP. So that install Apache modules. Look, I'm installing PHP version 8.1. And then we have this one, nano slash var www html. So I'm gonna create, I'm here actually, look, ls, I'm here under www html, right? So I'm gonna create here a file which is named info.php. So nano info.php. So basically now you can create your PHP file here. PHP start with this command, question mark PHP, and then you can put the function. There's a first simple function that shows your PHP is working or not. So with semicolon, and then you can close that PHP. So Control X and save. Now, if you come back here and refresh the page, sorry, put info.php file. Look, it shows that your PHP file is readable by web server that you install. It means that your module is installed successfully, and now your web servers can read PHP codes as well. So then we have Apache npms. I'm doing that part and step one. Under step one, so you can navigate to nano. Basically, you can go cd etc Apache 2 mods available. So here, so if you do ls, we have these modules available. So you can do it ls grep with npm that shows that modules available for npm. Okay, if you go to cd etc Apache 2 and then mods enable, so here ls grep npm. So you see that out of these modules available, these two are enabled. Prefork is enabled. So load and compile are enabled. So you see that also step 3 is asking you to look at that file. So you can do cat or nano npm prefork.conf file, which is here. Sorry, conf file. Okay, so that shows the start server, mean sparse server, max, and request workers. And then we reach to Apache authentication. I clear my screen. So here is asking you to install apt-get install Apache 2 utils. So you see that I installed, and then you can go under cd var www here. So you see that we have HTML folder. I create an admin folder here, mkdir admin. So the goal of here, we want to put the file under admin folder, and then you should enter user and password to reach that folder. So cd admin folder I create here, look, doesn't have any file. I'm gonna create index.html file. So like h1 here, this is admin page, and then h1. Control X and save. So I have now here file under admin folder. So then you can navigate to this file, nano etc Apache 2 sites enable and then 00default.conf. So this file uh, is the main file for changing the configuration. So under here, uh, you can have a directory. So I put here a directory. So then you define your directory. So which directory? I'm gonna put var www html and admin this folder. Then under here, you can say, okay, authentication type should be basic. Then you can say authentication name should be, so this is like a name that you put here. So like, you can say, please enter your credential. That's a message you can put for, you can ask for user to enter um, the information. So authentication user file. So this one also should be the file that you want to put the password. So I haven't created this one, but I'm going to create it on the Apache to call that one file as a pass. And then the last one require valid user, valid dash user. So it's very case sensitive. So be careful when you're using this command. So basically, uh, should be the same as the document. So after you have done this, save this file and then come back to create the password file. So I'm gonna create that one like this, htpasswd create under this pass. So it is, the file name is pass, and then you can create user. I put my name here as a username. Then I put the password, for example, 123456. Very simple password. I know that is a very bad password. I put it for a Hamid user. So if you look at that file now, cd etc apache to pass, oh, probably here, and then cat pass. Look, now Hamid has this password, right? So then if you service Apache to restart, or you can do systemctl restart Apache 2, which is in the document. Then if you now want to reach to your admin, look, it will ask the username password. If you put anything else, for example, John and the password, so it will not show the page to you. So you should put the right password, for example, Hamid and the right password. Look, now I'm in admin page and show up the index.php file. Okay, so that's a result for this step. And then I'm doing Apache redirect. So this part, basically, you can redirect from one file to another file. So again, you come back to, maybe I just type it again, nano etc Apache 2, and then sites enable, then 00default.conf. This file, basically, we modified this part for directory. So I'm going to comment this section. So I use #. Don't forget to put these lines as a comment. And then what we are doing here, I'm going to add another line. So basically, I'm going to say redirect now whatever I have under admin folder to the root. Okay, so anyone wants to reach the admin folder is going to be redirected to root. So let's do service Apache to restart. Look, now, if I want to reach to this page, look, it will redirect me to the local host, that root page. So again, I put it admin here. Look, it will redirect me to the root. So then we reach to Apache virtual hosts. So then we can create two websites here. So I'm doing a step one. So step one is asking you, I'm clearing my screen first. And then it's asking you to go to var www.html here, create two folders. So I'm going to create two, test1 and mkdir test2. Right? So now I have two folders, test1 and test2. So under test1 and test2, I'm going to create two HTML files, cd test1 nano index.html. So here, like I'm going to create h1. This is test1. Okay, h1. And so I switch to like colon, one upper folder and then cd test2. Look, I don't have any file and nano index.html. So h1, this is test2, h1, right? Control X and save. So look, now I have a file here as well. So look, two folders with two index HTML files. Now you can go navigate to nano etc Apache 2 sites available 000 default.conf, right? So I'll have two now folder. One of them is test1 and then map test1. From here, document root is test1. I'm gonna also comment this section from previous one, redirect admin. So comment this section. And so you go at the end of this line and then create another virtual host. Virtual host. So this time test2 at 80, right? So we need to define server admin, webmaster. That's the email. You can put any email address, localhost. I put it as sample one. Document root. This one is important. Document root. That's var www html and test2. Okay, so that maps to test2, and then you can close the virtual host. Virtual host here. So I create two virtual hosts. One of them test1, the other one test2. One of them mapped to folder test1, the other one folder test2. So also change my DNS nano etc host. Your local DNS is here. So you can put here, okay, 127.0.0.1 also can be test1. 127.0.0.1 also can be test2. That means that you don't need to put the IP address of test as 127.0.0.1. So if you put in the browser test1, it will load 127.0.0.1. So Control X, service Apache to restart. So now look, if I open here a new tab and type HTTP test1, it will load test1. And if I type here HTTP test2, it will load test2 folder. Okay, because I put 127.0.0.1 as equal test1 and 127.0.0.1 equal to test2 in the under DNS. So then I don't need to put the IP address. I can put here test1, also can put here test2. That's your result for step 4. And the last part of this lab is talking about SSL self-signed certificate. So basically, we create I clear my screen again. So we create a kind of open SSL certificate. So it's like that, open SSL require x dot 509 dash nodes dash days 365 days RSA 2048 dash key out. This is like your private key, so you put it under etc SSL private and name it Apache self-signed dot key. And the other one, you put it dash out as etc SSL certs Apache. Name that one. This is your public key. Self-signed dot crt. Oops, maybe I missed something. Open SSL requires dot 509 nodes days. Yeah, days and then new key. Sorry, I forgot to put here new key RSA. So dash new key RSA 248 dash key out. Yeah. So then you can put here country name as CA and state and province. You can put it Vancouver or whatever you like Burnaby, right? Locality. Sorry, that one should be BC state or province. But it's not very important. Burnaby. I put it the wrong one. I can create again. So it's like that CA, BC, and then CD. I can put it Burnaby. Organization name. You can put any name, right? For example, IT, and then common name. You can, for a common name, you can put your own IP address here. If you do if config, you have the IP address 192.168.199.136. So put it here 192.168.199.136. Email address, you can put your email address here. For example, Hamid at sign Talebi.ca, for example. You can put your Gmail or Yahoo account. But this part is just the information that you create for your self-signed certificate. I'm going to show you when we want to see it on the browser. So let's go nano etc Apache 2 under sites available. So default ssl.conf. So if we look at this part, SSL self certificate, you see that there is like a cert Apache. So I'm gonna, by default, this is PEM file. I'm gonna change this one to my file I have created in previous step. So it's like Apache self-signed dot crt. So I put this one as Apache self-signed dot key. Okay. So I save that file. If you have done correctly this step, then if you do service Apache 2 restart, you shouldn't get any error. Okay, that means I've created correctly. So then you enable SSL module. A to enable mod SSL. Okay, then asking you to do systemctl restart. So you can also do service Apache restart like this. And then A to enable mod headers. Um, A2EN mod headers. Yeah. Oh, headers. I have typo here. So yeah. Then service Apache to restart. So it's asking you to do systemctl, but it's the same as service Apache to restart. So then you can enable also SSL on your virtual host. So A2EN site default SSL. So then you loading systemctl reload Apache 2, or you can restart it. And now if you open tab here, HTTPS, okay, local host, look, you should receive this part advanced. So basically you can see your certificate here, and the information that I put here during creating certificate, like here, gonna be show up here, like CABC, where VIT, the IP address, and the email address. Okay. Um, so that's it for uh, Apache Lab. Hello, everyone. I'm doing a Squid Lab now. So I clear my screen and whatever I've done in previous lab. So basically a Squid Lab, first of all, is asking you, so I do CD. So it's asking you to install Squid. So app get install uh, Squid. So Squid configuration is gonna be under etc squid.conf, but it's very long configuration. So nano etc squid squid.conf file. So here, as I said, you can use Control W to search. Control W. So you see that search is going to be enabled here. Now you can search for HTTP underline port. So one we have here. Then you press again Control W and enter. Control W, enter. So it will show you the next HTTP port. Control W, enter. Control W, enter. So you continue until we reach to the default port, which is 3128 here. So you will change this one to 8.8.8.8. That's the first step on the document. So basically, step 2 is asking to change the default port, okay? And then under this document again, is asking to look for cache underline directory. So Control W, cache underline dir. That's the first one. Second one, third one. We continue until we reach the section that has some samples. So Control W, enter until I think should be somewhere with pool, spool and so I'm just looking for that part. Uh, should be somewhere maybe here. I just scroll down a little. So I couldn't figure out where it is. So we continue until we reach that part. Okay, swap file, cache directory. Uh, that's 4 meg. Okay, usage. Okay, and another usage here. I think we missed maybe some part. Okay. Oh yeah, it's here. Uncomment and adjust the following add to disk cache directory. So it's asking you to uncomment this section. As a spool squid that adjusting your disk cache directory. Okay. So yeah, these two configuration for this step, and then save it, and then system ctl restart squid. Sorry, restart squid. So if you don't have any error, that should be okay. So because this file is a little large, then it takes time. So after this step 4 is asking you to open the browser now. So I'm just waiting for the response of this step. Should be ready, okay? So there you go. So then you can open the browser. So I don't need this one. So here, open your browser. So your browser does have a proxy setting. So if you go under setting and type proxy here, search for proxy. Then under network settings, there's some proxy settings. So we're gonna set this one manual. So 127.0.0.1, that's localhost, right? So then what port did you set? 8888 for a squid. And you use for HTTPS as well. So HTTPS, both of them are used. Most of the websites are HTTPS. That's why I put this one as well. So click OK. And now your proxy has been set. So if you go to google.com, okay, you see google.com, right? So now let's look at the logs. So step 5 is asking you tail-f, that's end of file, var log squid, and then access log. Look, now I have google.com. So if I go, for example, to yahoo.com, for example, look, it will generate some logs here and will show up what site I am going. If I go to my website also, halevi.ca, you should be able to see some logs here. Look, it 200, it means okay. So we see the logs here. Then we reach to another step here is, I'm gonna open new tab here. Yeah, this one clear. So another one is asking you to go to nano. Oh, I make this user as sudo -s, then nano etc squid.conf. So that file that we changed recently. So if you search Control W for save underline ports is here, right? So add something here, ACL. We want to work with ACL now. So I want to say ACL Talibi dot, that the name of ACL is Talibi. So destination domain is talibi.ca, like this. And I'm saying HTTP underline access deny this website. So basically this ACL, now with this ACL, we are denying this website. So let's Control X again, restart our system, or you can say service squid restart. Okay. So I'm waiting for restarting this page, but previous page, we were looking at logs like tail-f. I didn't close this page, so still I have that page. Um, I'm waiting for this to be restarted. It's gonna be in a few seconds. Yeah, there you go. So now if I open talibi.ca, the proxy server is refusing. Let's look at the logs. So here it's showing that you want to reach to talibi.ca and is denied. So this is one of your screenshots for a step 2 as a skill, a squid ACL. And basically a step 2 is asking for reaching that website. So you're reaching this way, and a step 3 is asking for logs that you should receive this page. Um, so then is asking again. So we have another maybe. So I'm gonna open again nano etc squid.conf. So we should go and add locate this part. So a step 1 is asking you to locate NCSA file. Basically, NCSA file is located under user library squid squid basic under NCSA authentication. So if you go to your step 2 is asking nano to that file. So I'm nanoing to that file, and we should add authentication prompt. So what we can do, we can go under this file and find uh, safe port first, or first we can authentication from, here we have authentication from the next one. Oops, I made a mistake. Uh, Something happens that you uncomment one section, so we should be very cautious when you're doing with this file. So here are just some example how you can do authentication prompt. So what I want to do a basic authentication prompt. So for example, I am gonna use one of these lines. So like this one maybe. So you see that authentication prompt basic. So or program was the best one, the first one, like this one. You can uncomment this one, but I did this one. So I'm gonna change from here. So basically we have user, library, squid, and then we have basic NCSA authentication. So I'm gonna show you why we chose this path. And then etc squid password is the password that we are creating in the next step. Okay, so basically we want to add one level of authentication during when the users want to reach the internet. So this is one line that we added here. The other one that I want to add is this one. So I'm gonna again Control W and then right here uh, save underline port. So underline here. So then add this line, ACL, authenticated. So that's name of ACL, proxy, underline authentication. So required, okay, and HTTP underline access, allow authenticated. So I'm authenticating this request. Basically, it is required to do the proxy authentication. What it says, it's required to do a proxy authentication. So one thing that I want to show you here, first, how we got that NCSA authentication file. Basically, you can locate that file. Look, locate NCSA authentication file. So it says that I don't have a locate. So you can install locate. Then you can look for that file. So locate. There isn't anything, but you can update the database. So its indexing file should be updated. So if you write update DB, it's going to update that indexing. So now look, locate NCSA authentication. Look, it will tell you that, okay, it is under user lib squid this pass. That's why we put that one as one of the parameter under squid conf file. So I haven't created the password file. So I'm gonna htpasswd dash create etc squid and then password. I put the username as Hamid. So now you can put your password, for example, 123456, 123456. So then it added for user Hamid. So now you can do service, restart, squid, sorry, service, squid restart, or systemctl restart squid. Both of them are correct. Restart. I'm doing usually with service squid restart. So now we open the browser. Okay, so let's wait for restarting this service. Oh, I got the error. So let's look at the error. Which line we have the error? So if I paste this one, oh, we have engine X service is running. Okay. So yeah. So basically, you should service engine X stop. Okay. And then service Apache 2 start, because part of this module that I am using HT password is using Apache 2. So that was very good error because now if you want to let me see that what error, what page that we are getting error. Um, so service Apache 2 status is running. Okay, so if I wanna do, okay, journal CTL. So let me see that which one we have error again. If we have a typo somewhere, I want to be sure that we don't have any error. Oh yeah, here, look, it's saying that, okay, unrecognized basic parameter user lib squid invalid ACL authenticated proxy Okay, that file, it seems that it has error. So I'm gonna go to, yeah, as I said, there is like error here. Maybe on this file, nano etc squid. So I'm gonna search for safe underline ports or safe underline port. Um, so look at this one. Maybe I have type or something. ACL authenticated proxy underline authentication required. So that part is, I think it's correct. Maybe I have typo authenticated. Indicated is correct. And HTTP access also is correct. What about that part that I put it authentication prompt? Maybe I have some issue. Yeah, maybe that part. Because this one seems to be okay. Also, I can comment this section if there is like a problem between. So I'm gonna check the previous one, authentication on the lamp prompt. So search for that line that I have changed. So it's here. So authentication from basic. Oh, I missed program user line. Okay, that's now should be okay. Okay, then service squid restart. Yeah, it's restarted. And now if I open any website like google.com, look, I have a proxy here. It's asking for user and password. So if I put my user and password, then I am able to reach any website. So that's your user and password. So then did I forget user and password? So maybe I need to redo that line also. I'm gonna change the username. So here I put, for example, John, okay? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, then also restart this Squid server. Maybe there is like a conflict between the users that I have during the previous lab because I use also under Apache this user Hamid. So then I change this user Hamid to John here. Maybe um, that works for you guys if you're using labs. You got this error. So I close everything. Like if you close my browser, open my browser again. So then it asks for user and password, John 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. So if I put google.com, now I'm able to reach to google.com. Also, you see that here also the app, I have logged. So like is asking for user and password, and then I reach to google.com. So basically that's lab of uh, Squid, and I will see you on the next tab. So um, the thing is that first of all, we are doing the Samba server labs. So let me make my user add sudoer. So that's sudoer user. So then I can do app get update. And then I can do install the Samba. That update is not necessary just for like updating your repository. Um, but if you wanna install the software, usually if you haven't used for a week or for 2 weeks, your Linux operating system is very good to use apt-get update. Then you can apt-get install Samba. Look, that's the packages of Samba that we are installing on Ubuntu. So what I'm gonna do after this step, I'm gonna create a folder, share folder, and then we're gonna share this folder under this network. We create also a network. So look here, I am under home Ubuntu, okay? cd slash, and now I'm under slash, right? So here, I'm gonna create a directory, mkdir and Samba share. That's my folder. So to make read, write, executable this folder, you use chmod 777 and Samba share like this. So look, now your Samba share folder should be green. So it is green now. So that means that now you have read, write, execute. If you do ls-la, it will verify that, okay, you have, look, read, write, execute, read, write, execute, read, write, execute. Okay, Samba configuration is located here under etc Samba's SMBCom. So I'm gonna nano to this file, Samba, and then smb.conf. So that's the configuration of Samba. So there is global configuration, and in the document also, I put Win support. So we don't have any more Win support in this document. Like in the previous version we had, but we don't have it anymore. So you don't need to put that one. So I'm gonna go at the bottom of this document, like last line. You can just use page down to go that last line of that document, right? So look here, the thing is that you should write the name of your folder that you created in previous steps. So I created Samba share. So I put it in bracket. So it's like that, Samba share. So that's gonna be your share file name that you created. That means that if in the network you're looking for something, some folder which is shared on the network, that name is Samba share. You can put any name. Comment. So that's like a comment that you put it for your share folder. Like I can say, okay, that's my Samba share folder on Ubuntu, something like that. Path. So basically, I put my folder under slash Samba share. So that's very important. Usually, a student make a mistake here. So a slash Samba share is your path when you created in previous step. Read only. So that means that your folder is read only or not. No. When you're putting no, if you're putting yes, that means that that's only read only. But if you're putting no, that means that it is writable also. Okay. And then browsable. So you see that also we have here browsable. I'm just looking at this sample for printers. So you can look at that one. So browsable, that means that it will list the folders like a Unix style. So then you can look at that list of folder. Guessed okay, then that means that users without any username password, like those they don't have account on their Ubuntu, they're allowed to reach to this folder or not? Yes, for example. So then you can save this one, Control X um, Control X and save it. So if the service that we have under Samba folder is service, uh, you can do it as system control also, service SM BD restart. So I'm restarting this service. And there is something we call that one test parm. That verify your configuration. So if you do here test parm, so it will tell you that, okay, your SMB configuration seems to be okay. You have weak crypto. So that's by default enabled. I didn't change that crypto. And that's role that we have. Let's say that please and press any enter. So then you can see the configuration that you have done. So the last one I have done, look this one, Samba share, so that you can see that one. So test parm, basically, um, it will check and verify the SMB configuration, right? So now, look, this one is very important to verify that which network you are. So this one is NAT. So if you check the IP address of this one, if config is 192.168.199.137. Okay, let me check from Windows, my Windows 11, 199.137. Uh, Basically, this is kind of things that we have under my Windows 11. I can fix that one. Let me see that. Do I have any um, other options like Windows 10 or Windows? Yeah, I have Windows 10 also here from previous session. I can log in with administrator uh, or let me see that. What was the password for that one? Yeah, I don't have, or maybe it doesn't have a password. Oh, that's part of the administrator of domain controller. Okay, so let me see that. Can I fix this issue? So basically, if you go to control panel, one of the things that you should be sure, look, this Windows, uh, basically it is educational version. If you have a home version, probably on Windows 11, you don't have SMB. So it's very hard to um, like install on a home edition. So basically you should check here that look, I have a service here, SMB SIF support. So that's my SMB version. Do you see that? That's version 1. So that's client version that I'm gonna install it here. Um, I think that's one of the options that I should install. And the other one, Pro version also is fine. Um, the other one is you should go to, let me finish this one. Also under registry, gpedit.msc. You know, Windows 11 Home Edition doesn't have also registry. So that's very hard to configure it. So then under here also, there is section for network, so administrative template under computer configuration, network, and then we have LAN-MAN workstation. So this one enable and secure guest only. You should enable this option. So these two configuration, it will enable your SMB. I don't want to restart my operating system because if I restart my operating system, I lose my configuration. So let me see that. Does it work again? 192.168.199.137. There you go. So you see that, the Samba share. So I share folder. So look now, if I want to verify. So if I create a file here like hamid.txt and put it, say hello from Windows, hello from Windows. Look, we should be able to see this file, right? So if I come back here, I am under a slash forward slash, right? So ls cd samba share ls, look, hamid.txt is located here, cat hamid.txt. Yeah, hello from Windows. There you go. So we verified that, okay, this share folder now is working properly, and you can share a file from Windows or from the Linux. So if you do SMB status, look, it will show you who shared the files and some information like that. With logs, that's kind of a logs that we have here. Oh, so it's saying that from 192.168.199 dot one, someone shared a file, right? So also net status shares show you the share file. That's another way that you can see who has been connected to your share folder. So it's saying that connected at that time with this machine IP address, and that's the PID that which is assigned to this service. So you see that that's anyone can connect to this share folder. But if you want to allow only a specific person to reach to this share folder, then you should set the password. So let's create another folder under slash. So cd slash, look here, under here, I'm gonna create another folder, mkdir. Let's put this one data. And then the same thing, Shemat 777 data. So look now, data is similar to Samba share, right? So then now I'm gonna go to nano etc Samba and then smb conf, this file at the end of this file. So look, we created Samba share. That's for the Samba share folder. I'm gonna create another data for a data folder. So that's my share name. So path, the same thing. You can put the comment and the other stuff, but comment is not necessary. You can skip that part. So like it is my folder path is located under slash data. And then I can say like this, valid users. So who is allowed to reach to this folder? I'm saying, okay, let me say only, for example, Smith, for example, is allowed. I changed the name. Browsable. So always my example was my name. So at this time, I changed the name. Browsable, yes. read only no, that means that you have a write option also. So I've said yes, no, and then create mask. So what's that one? So basically we are saying what type of permission you have for this folder and for this directory. 077 read write execute, and directory mask is 0777 read write execute. So save this one, and then um, you can do service or system CTL, restart SMBD. All right, that's a service that we have for SMB or Samba. So then you can use this command to add the user. So what was the user that I added? Smith, right? So I add this user and I set the password for Smith. For example, 123456. Oh, is a bad password. Okay. Uh, all right. So this version of Ubuntu. No. Okay. Okay. Guys, we need a strong password. Okay, I'm gonna very strong password. You see, I put a very strong password. The first one I put 123456 is it was not accepted by this version of Ubuntu. So um, then you can do this way. So there is like a database on the Samba. So if you want to synchronize the database of a Samba with the database of the operating system, you can use SMB pass WD, SMB pass WD, and use the same user as Smith that I use. So use the same password. So I'm gonna enter the same password here. So look now, that user is added to the database of Samba. So that means that now this user is part of that database, and Samba server, it detects this user. So let me now refresh this page. Okay, that's the user. So that's the same as you did this way, right? 192.168.199.137, the IP address of this one. And then I look at this folder. This folder was without username password. So this folder probably should ask username password, yes. So I'm gonna put here Smith and then my strong password. There you go. So now I connected to that folder. So if I create a file here, for example, Hamid2.txt, hello, again. Okay, so then I'm gonna save this file from Windows. So if I come back to Linux, look now, where am I? I'm here. Forward slash, so data is located here, cd data, ls, so that file that I shared. So then I can cat hamid2.txt. So that's hello again. So every time that you want to verify SMB status, look, it will show you the data that, look, this IP address again, connected, that was not read write only data, you see. The net status share, net status shares, so show you that, okay, which time that data someone has connected to your share folder. Okay, that's this lab for SMB. So We are focusing on this lab on NFS, Network File System. Basically, allows you to share the file and directory over the network. I mentioned some points about the NFS, how to install it. It is like this: apt-get install NFS kernel dash server. So this one has a little longer. When you're typing the services, you should write like this: system CTL, and then start. The name of a service is like that: NFS dash kernel dash service, right? Sorry, NFS dash kernel dash server. So that's the name of the service that you're starting. And if you want to check the status now, look, status is active and is running. So I am on forward slash, right? So I'm gonna create another folder, mkdir nfs data. Look, the folder is here, nfs data. So then Shemot 777, it will give a read write execute like Samba that we created. Look, if I do ls, now this one has read write execute. So the only service that configuration is not located under, the name of the service is NFS. So look, it is under etc exports here. So basically here, we have different version of NFS, version 2, version 3, version 4, and you see some samples here. So basically, this one is version 2, version 3 sample, and this one is version 4 sample. What we are doing here, we are saying that, okay, our file is located under, a folder is located under NFS data. So basically a slash forward slash NFS data, and then we are giving read write execute. So that's like all read write. That's the something that you should put it for under export. If you do export fs-v verbose, probably we should restart that service. Let me restart it. Systemctl restart fs kernel, and then export fs-v. Look, now it will show that, okay, NFS data, it has synchronized, it has high no subdirectory check, and that's the default configuration that we have for this folder under NFS, but we can change those configurations. So NFS, it works based on RPC. So if you look at the RPC info, so basically it will show you the ports that NFS is using. So port mapper here shows that port that we are using, right? So then if you want to be sure that you're doing correctly, so you can do this part basically to verify your configuration. You can do it on a Windows operating system. Also, you can do it on Linux operating system. I'll put both of them on the document. Like step 6 is talking about only doing on a Windows operating system. Step 7 is on the Linux. Either one works for us. So let's check this way. So for this one, again, you should go to control panel, and this part, program and feature, Windows feature, there should be a NFS, a service for NFS. You see that? This one. So I'm gonna enable, you should have a client NFS. That's okay to enable all of them for this step. And then I'm not gonna reboot my operating system. So there is a command, or you can do it. I'm gonna show you both of them. First of all, let's look at the command line. So you can use mount dash O. Oh, that's mount dash O. Probably I should restart my operating system because it doesn't detect that mount dash O, or mount doesn't detect that one. So the thing is that if you're also using um, this computer, so there is add a network location or map a network drive. So this command is similar to what you're doing on the GUI. But the thing is that my IP address here is 192.168. What was that? 199.137, right? And the folder name was NFS data. So let's see that I can locate that file or not. I can't. Uh, basically, this part, because I should restart my Windows. And if I restart my Windows operating system, I lose my data. So I choose the second option. Second option is installing on another Linux. So what I'm gonna do here, because here under Ubuntu, I have this file, right? I'm gonna cut this file, bring it to new folder. I call it Ubuntu 2, and I'm gonna extract it here, paste. So extract this file here. So that gives you another Ubuntu. Then I can continue this lab with the second Ubuntu. It's not bad. So file, open, now Ubuntu number 2. But as I said, you can do it on a Windows also. Here, because I have a software that if I reboot my operating system, I lose my old data. So then I cannot do the rest of lab. So that's my second Ubuntu, okay? That's my NFS server, and that's my second Ubuntu. First of all, make sure both of them are the same network. Look, this one, NAT, okay? Also, this one also is under NAT. So, terminal, I'm gonna make it bigger, a little bigger to see better. So, make this one as sudoer. Make sure that you have a ping to this one, 199.137. Like I have a ping. So I verify here from here that, okay, what's my IP address? Look, if config is 137, and I have a ping to that 137. So apt-get update here. First of all, to update the packages and repository. And then we're gonna install NFS version client for Linux operating system, which is this one, app. get install NFS common, right? So it will install this one. And then I'm gonna create a folder uh, to map the previous one with this one. So let's create a folder here. I call it mkdir backup. Okay, then you can do this command, mount -t nfs-o mount versions. That's version 4 we are using. And then the IPs of the your Ubuntu, which is 192.168.199.137, and then colon NFS data. And we are mapping that one to backups here, that folder. So let's do it. Okay, create it. So CD, look, the backup folder is here, backup. You see that? So let's CD backups. I'm gonna create a file here, touch Hamid 3. Okay, and then nano Hamid 3, or you can say Hamid 3. Hello from Linux or Ubuntu. Then Control X, save it. Now let's come back here, check it. ls. So it should be under data, right? CD data. Nothing. Oh, it is here. Hamid. Oh, sorry. Under NFS data, sorry. CD NFS data. Hamid 3 is there. Cat Hamid 3. Look, hello from Ubuntu. So as I said, you can do it on Windows, but I did it on Linux. Also, you can, if you do it on the Windows, you don't need to do it on Linux operating system for this lab. So that's kind of verification that we have for NFS data. Client. So you can use any operating system for client. I have 2 clients here, Windows 10 Kali. You can use also 2 Ubuntus. This is also very good. Look, if you want to create Ubuntu very fast, you don't need to install Ubuntu. You just extract this file that I mentioned in the first session. You just extract it, and then you have Ubuntu. So how you can load this one in VMware? So you just go File, Open. I've seen that some people go from here, File, New Virtual Machine, but you don't need to create a new virtual machine because this is prepare file. So you go File, Open, and then the file that you extracted. So it's located here under Ubuntu #1. Look, then when you extract, you have your virtual machine. I copied, and that's your Ubuntu. So anytime if your operating system crashed or you need second operating system, that's the way that you can create your second operating system. So look, now I log in with Ubuntu. The password also is Ubuntu. So here, just make sure every time you connect, make sure that you have connection. So the way that I am doing, I am opening usually terminal. So let me make it bigger here to see the terminal. So look, the first thing I usually do sudo -s, make it as sudo, and then ping 4224 to make sure that you have internet. Okay, so then you can continue the lab steps. So if you want to install DHCP, is apt-get install isc DHCP dash server. So then you install this one. So like the other packages that we installed so far, usually DHCP configuration also is located under etc, cd etc DHCP. And then look ls, here you have DHCP d.conf, this file, which contain the configuration that you need. So I'm gonna nano dhcpd.conf. Nano is the editor. So you see that here we have different options for DHCP, similar what we did for Windows Server. So basically you have domain name that you can set your domain name. Here, default, for example, default list time is 600. 7200 is a max list time. And you can set your, basically your scope from here. So we don't have a wizard here. You should set your scope from here. So what I want to set here, for example, I want to set as 192.168.1. So that's my network ID, 192.168.10. And the network mask I'm going to set for this one is 255.255.255.0. Range that I am assigning here, I'm going to set as, that's like a pool of IP address, 192.168.1.150. That's the first one. And the end of this range is 254. So also I want to set routers here. So there are some options here. So option, for example, routers, the first one, I want to set as 192.168.1.254 as a router. That's your default gateway actually. Okay, and the other option that I want to set is domain name server. So I put that one as 4224, and option for domain dash name. So basically that domain name server is my DNS. And this is my domain name that I put it as my domain dot example. Okay, make sure that all lines, they should have semicolon at the end. You see that? And this is your range that you have defined here. So you see that my range is 192.168.10. So then your network adapter also should be on this range. So basically you should go on the wire settings. And for example, this is like on 192.168.199.138. I'm going to set the manual IP address here. So 192.168.1.1.24. And I don't set any gateway here. Just make sure that IP address has been set. I disable, enable it. So look, now it has been set as 192.168.1.1. So that means that my server now has an IP address of 192.168.1.1. And so then server from this pool that I have defined can set the IP address in client. So the other piece that you should set here, basically under here, nano etc default, and then ISC default DHCP server. Here we have interface of a DHCP version 4 and DHCP version 6. So if you open a new tab here. Do if config. Look, your interface name is ENS33. That's my main interface. So then I put here my interface version 4 is ENS33. Different operating, usually Ubuntu is ENS33, but for example, in Kali distribution is ETH0, the first interface. So after you have done this step, Control X, save it, and now do system CTL, restart your service. Restart ISC DHCP dash server, right? So look, now I want to verify this one. So this is server. For verification, I can customize my network. I can bring this one, for example, to VMnet, for example, 17. We did this step also in Windows Lab. So I can verify it with Kali or Windows. If you have a Windows, most of you guys, you have Windows. So make sure the connection between the Ubuntu and the Windows 10, they are in the same network. So I put this one also as VMnet 17, right? So basically now this Windows 10 should receive an IP address. So if I check here and it's ncpa.cpl, the look is trying to receive an IP address. Let me see that this one is, because make sure this IP address should be obtained an IP address automatically. That means that should be set as a DHCP. So then look, oh no, it didn't receive any IP address. So let me check again. Still trying to receive, enable, disable, or you can say IP config release and renew to see that what's IP address here. So let me see. Look, I got the IP address, the first one, 192.168.1.150. Okay, so I do with the Kali also. If I put this Kali, that's another operating system, but you can do it on Windows. So if I put this one as VMnet 17 Kali, look, if I come back here and try to see that what IP address it will get, yeah, got the IP address. So if I do if config, look, this one is 1.151. So also you can verify from the Ubuntu server that what are the address leads. So you can cat var library DHCP and then DHCPD dot leases. So look, it will tell me that the first one, 1.50, it will it assigned to this MAC address, and the name of the computer is desktop. That's my Windows. And the other one, look, 151 is the Kali. So this verification, last step, is very important. If you haven't that part, that means that your client didn't get any IP address. One step also mentioned in the document about setting a static IP. So look, under nano dhcpd.conf, this file, you can say, okay, I want to set, sometimes it happens that you have some server or some devices like printer that you want to set a static IP address. That means that that IP address is fixed and it will never change. So you can write like this. You can say, okay, there are some samples here. Look, for example, I'm gonna uncomment this section, fixed IP address.
So host name, that you can name it any host name like server one, right? And the hardware Ethernet. So basically, remember that command that I put here. Um, what was that? Cat var library dhcpd, dhcp, and then dhcpd. Um, so basically, if I make this one as sudo dhcpd that leases, yeah. So this one shows me like the MAC address of these two machines, these two clients. So I'm gonna copy this MAC address. That's for Windows, right? Copy it, bring it here on their hardware. So I paste here hardware Ethernet. So that's my for Windows. And then I would say that, okay, I wanna set, for example, for this one, let me delete this part. I want to say for Windows, set the fixed address. Fixed address. So we have some samples also here. You see that fixed address. If you want to copy that part. So I want to set, for example, 192.168.120, for example. That means that my Windows should receive this IP address, not from DHCP pool. So I'm gonna save this one and restart my service. And then I come back here. Now I disable this interface, enable it again. Let's see what IP address I get. So look, 192.168.120. So this is like the way that you can set the fixed address on some of your devices. Like if you have a router, printer, usually router, printers, main servers in the network, you set fixed address. All right, so this is LDAP lab that we are installing LDAP servers, and we configure that. The thing is that for installation, you need to install apt-get install. So basically, if we are continuing from previous lab, we changed the IP address, right? So now we should bring it back to normal. So what you do, you go under your IP configuration. So you don't have an internet now. So if you change it to automatic, now you have internet. So look, then it will, okay. We will not receive IP address because we also changed the network configuration. So you should bring back to NAT to receive that IP address from DHCP. I disable it, enable it again. So seems that, okay, I got the, I make sure that ping 4224 works. Yeah, it worked. So now I can continue my lab. So apt-get install slab d ldap utils. That slab d basically is the configuration that you have for your LDAP server. So that's administrative password that you can set for your LDAP. Put it as simple password, but you can put it as very strong password as well. You know, when this is like a default configuration, but if you want to have reconfigure that LDAP, you can do this way: the package dash reconfigure, and then slab D. So is asking you, do you want to omit open LDAP server configuration? No. Here is asking the default name is Linux VM images.local. I want to change this one to um, example.com. That's part of the lab document. It's asking you put example.com. So example is DC.com. So organization name. Also, I want to put that one as example.com. Administrative password. So that's the password that you set in the previous step. So I put the same password. Do you want the database to be removed when slab is purged? No. Move to old database? Yes. Okay. So that means that we move all of this configuration to the previous database. So to verify, if you do a slab cat, look, slab cat, and press your tab button. Look, then we have, uh, okay, slab cat, then we have dash B cn equal to config. So then it should show you your domain configuration. So what domain configuration? Basically, your CN should be admin, and under, let me bring here, yeah, under here, look, DC is example.com. That's very important. So previous one was Linux VM images are local, that we changed that one to example.com. We want to ensure that this part, it has been changed, and basically it is correct now. So if you do a slab cat, it will show you the brief configuration that you have under your domain controller. So it is like example your .com, example is DC, and these are like entries that you creator, who created, time of creation, modify, name, timestamps, and the other stuff. If you want to search a specific things like host, bind, and your database under LDAP, you can use LDAP search. Also LDAP, if you press tab, you see that you have LDAP add, compare, delete, modify, pass. So I'm using search one, LDAP search -h localhost -x. -x means simple binding. And then -b DC equal example, DC equal, I'm searching something uh, uh, under my example.com. So look, this is when you're using Ubuntu 22.04 or more than that one. So this command h.localhost is no longer available. I've also mentioned the last page of a document to fix that issue. Instead of dash h lowercase, put dash h uppercase, and put this one as LDAP I /. So that one gives the information of your LDAP, which is look, this one is LDIF, which is your file in LDAP. And also this is version 3, and that's information that you have 2 results here to entry for that record. Then there are some commands that I put here just for, you know, searching on your LDAP to know that, okay, this kind of a command also you can do it, but like for the next one is again dash lowercase h, but I'm gonna change it to uppercase and LDAP I. Uh, so then we have dash x dash dcn admin dc example dc equal com dash w dash b dc example dc com is asking for so to see encrypted password of the users, we use this command. So it's asking for LDAP password. That's the password that you set for administrator. So you see that it will return that result for this part. So the packaging of a SLAPD is designed to be configured with the service DIT, that's directory information tree. This allows dynamically configure the SLAPD without the need of restarting or configuring, editing the file. So it is like this. So you put LDAP search dash X and dash LLL dash H LDAP forward slash dash B binding and DC example DC com DN. It will return that part. So if you want to see who is now is on LDAP, you can do this way. LDAP, who am I? Who am I dash X. So that's anonymous user. So I haven't logged in. LDAP, who am I dash Y. That's for SASL, external example. External dash H LDAP I dash Q. So that returns the group ID that you have and external authentications that you have. So that the next part actually is more meaningful. So we have a file like LDIF file, and we want to bring this LDIF file. So basically, I'm gonna create an LDIF file. So this LDIF file also is available because sometimes it happens when you copying this file is gonna be tricky. So I'm gonna copy it from the main website because it's on the Ubuntu website. I'm gonna show you the link. So if you search this file name, add underline content .ld file and search with Ubuntu, then basically most of the things should be here. Yeah, it is located under here. That's the LD file. Also, we are copying this file. So what is this file? Is adding a group, adding another group which is named miners, and then after under that group we are adding John. That's the name of John Doe. That's a user ID, group ID, and the bash that we are using. In Linux, usually we do this way. So I'm nanoing, I'm gonna create LD file. Nano add underline content LD file. So paste that information here. Basically, you should have this format, okay? And then Control X, save it. Look, now I have LD file here. So then we want to add this LD file to our Active Directory. Basically, it will generate a John user under Active Directory. So LDAP add -x -d cn equal admin cn dc equal example dc equal com, and then w, write it under this file, add content ldiff, this file. So if you have done correctly these steps, then you enter the administrative password. So it's saying that possible missing line. You see that under line 9, OU. Let's see that one. Probably we have here a problem. Line 9, pasted from here. Shouldn't have any issue. Maybe I do it again. So I remove this part again. I paste again, maybe I miss some parts. Shouldn't be any issue. Let's see, let's try. So I'm pasting my file again. If I, so it has this part, people and DN. Should be correct, I think, this one. Yes. So what is my command here? LDAP add, right? -x -dc and admin dc example, dc com -w -f ldip content. Let's try. Yeah, that's additional value. Adding new entry, possible new line after dn. Where is dn? We have dc also. dn. dnexample.com. This line, let me try this way. Line 9, class object. Yeah, should be correct. Let me try again. No, maybe I copy from my file here that I have here in my document, copied, pasted. Okay, let me paste it here. Notepad. Paste here. And then save this one as my file. Okay. And then you know what? I'm gonna use STP. Let me see that I have STP file transfer protocol for this one. I'm gonna use this one, WinSCP. What is my Ubuntu? I can use SSH as well, but I'm gonna use this one, 192.168.199.138. 192.168.199.138. Ubuntu, Ubuntu. Okay. All right. So then, where is my file? My file is under here. I'm gonna paste it under my desktop, for example. There you go. So I should have that file, cd desktop, cd /home /ubuntu, cd desktop. Um, okay. So that's my file. So what was the command that I was using? This one. So I'm using my file.txt file 23456. Okay, you see that? That was the file problem. Probably I copied from here that has issues. So I copied from my file from the document and bring it to the Ubuntu. So then now you have an entry for John. So how you can verify that one? So if you have LDAP search -x LLL -b DC equal example DC com, and then the user that we are UID equal John, oops, John, and then CNGID number. So you see that we have John and the group ID is 5000. That's part of the our configuration. And it's possible to change the password of the John LDAP search -x-b DC equal example DC equal com DN colon. So that gives you the database that contains part of a look. Miners is there, groups is there, people also we added. John also part of this people. Now let's change that password. LDAP pass WD dash H. So then LDAP LDAP I colon. Then we have -x -dcn equal admin DC equal example DC equal com -w -s UID equal John OU, that's OU is people. So, and then DC equal example, DC equal com. New password. What password you want to set for John? 123456. 123456. Enter LDAP password also. I'll put 123456. All of them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Um, so now John has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means that now we have changed John's password. The rest of that, um, or how you can do the rest of that lab is asking you to add LDAP client. Let's say, oh, you may not have Kali. Let me do it on Ubuntu because you know Ubuntu better. So I'm going to create another Ubuntu. I'll call that one Ubuntu, Ubuntu second. So then paste this one here, extract this one. So then you can file, open the second Ubuntu. It's going to show up here. That file, yeah, extracted. Yeah. So that means that this Ubuntu is our client, like what we did for Active Directory. This is server, this is client. So you should know about your server IP address. So the server IP address 192.168.199.138. And that's your client. So what you do on the client, you install this part. Basically, that's the services for um, your DHCP. Sorry, DF for your LDAP client. So sudo -s app, or you can say apt-y. -y means that yes to all question. Install lib and s-ldapd lib pam -ldapd ldap-utils. So it's gonna install this part. This is very important. When you reach to this step, is asking what is your server. So you should put the server IP address. So that's 192.168.199.138. So then you put it like this, 192.168.199.138. Okay, so you don't remove that LDAP, you just remove that part. That's the IP address that you have here. And then click OK. So then is asking you what is the LDAP search base, so you know that it is example.com. So we are joining this Linux operating system to LDAP server. And what else? So here you click OK. So at this step, you use a space to select a space key. So you press a space, you select passwd, group, and shadow. And then press tab to go to the OK. And click OK, and it will install this part for you. So then you do system ctl restart nscd nslcd. So you restart that services that we have for a client. So look now, if I exit, now I should connect with John. su-l, John. Password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look, now it has been changed to John. So that means that this client now is connected to the server. And deleting LDAP is LDAP. So we are in the server, LDAP delete. You want to delete, for example, John. -h ldap I, and then -x -d cn equal admin, dc equal example, and dc equal com -w uid equal John, ou equal people, dc equal example, and dc equal com. LDAP password was 123456. So look, now we deleted, right? So look, search for John again, -b dc example dc com dn. We don't have John, right? So we used to have John. We only have people group example.com. And that's it for this lab. Lab SSH. So we are focusing on how to install SSH and then how to do a key through this SSH server. So look, this scenario, we don't touch this scenario because this is a very good scenario. I just, the only things that I remove from the previous scenario is this one, because you have an IP table here. I'm gonna remove an IP table here. So if you just do IP tables dash L, you see that we have drop. So you're dropping. So I remove that one, number one. So it's gonna be like this. We had it. So it is on the forward and is number one. So I'm gonna remove that one. Okay. So then if you look at L, there isn't anything. And you should have a ping from, that, the first one. Okay, so far so good. So this one acts like your server, this one acts like your client. So let's talk about SSH server. So if you want to install SSH, it's very easy. App get install open SSH-server. So it will install open SSH. By default, this version of Ubuntu that I am using, open SSH or SSH by default is enabled. But usually you can go apt-get install and then do this one. Where the configuration is located, you can do cd etc SSH and then SSH. If I cd here, look, there is like a configuration here, SSH d underline config. So nano SSH underline SSD underline config. So this file basically is the configuration, the main configuration for your SSH. So like this one, by default port, SSH port is 22. So we can change it from here. For example, if I want to change it to 2222, I can change it from here. So this part is talking about the public key and or the private key that you have, logging, authentication, how's going to be the authentication that you have, authorized key that we're going to talk about, authorized key also, and a lot of configuration like kbrowse and the other APIs that you want to set. Also X if you want to forward the X. So the thing is that here, if you want to restart your services, you can do systemctl restart.
sshd.service. So then you can restart your service. So I configure that port number, I restart the services, and then look at the client now from the client. Because this Linux 2 has the IP address of, look, if I show you again, if config. So I have two network interface. One of them is 192.168.1.1, right? So then I'm in a Linux 1 now. I can do this way. SSH username. So the username that I have here is probably one of them is Ubuntu. Look, if I exit here, look, is Ubuntu. So I am using user Ubuntu @ the IP address of the server 192.168.1.1 and the port number because I have already changed the port number. So I put that one as 2222. So if you haven't changed the port number, then by default is 22. You don't need to specify the port number. So this one is SHA-256 is fingerprinting that you receive is a public uh, key that you're receiving, and then you say yes, and then is asking what is the password. You put here Ubuntu. The version that I am here, it has like a screen like this, so it shows the password to you, but it's not very secure. So look, now I'm in Linux 2. I did SSH. How can I verify? Look, if I do fconfig, look, it has two interfaces, the same as this one that I show you. So if I want to exit, look, if I exit, now session is closed and I am in the Linux 1. So if I show you here, look, this one is Linux 1 with this 192.168.1.10. So the way that we are doing is through the password. Like every time I should do this way, enter the password, and then I connect to the second Linux. But there is a way, another way, better way that we can import the certificate. And when you're typing, for example, this way, you don't need to enter the password and automatically you will be connected to Linux 2. That's based on the keys. So we have two keys here. We have authorized keys, private key and a public key. Usually when we are using public key and a private key, we call this kind of encryption asymmetric. And that means that one of the keys is going to be shared. The other one is your private key, and you keep that key. So to create the key, so you should have the key, right? So here, let me make sure that I am in Linux 1. So I close that terminal. I do sudo -s. I am in a Linux 1. I verify with this IP address, I'm in Linux 1. And then I create or generate, maybe it's better to say generate some keys, public key and the private key. Which algorithm? RSA. So here is saying that, okay, the RSA algorithm, it will save the configuration, the files under here. You're okay? I'm saying okay. If you want to put it on somewhere else, you can put it somewhere else. So you see that this folder is created here, directory is created. Do you want to create the passphrase? This is another password that you can add to your key. Well, I just want to leave it as default. I click on enter. Enter the same passphrase. Okay. You see that I just keep it as blank. Do not put any password. So then RSA password created for you. So you can change your directory. You can go to this directory. You can copy this one, CD and paste it here. And then LS, you see that we have RSA, public key and the private key. Which one is a public key and which one is the private key? Probably that one has the extension of a public ID underline. If I cat ID underline rsa.pub, look, this one is my public key. But the other one is ID underscore RSA is
my private key. You see that is calling private key. And I can't read that one. Also, I can't read this part because it's encoded and encrypted, so I cannot read any part. So now I'm gonna copy these keys, these two keys, these keys on my server on Linux 2. So what's gonna happen? Because the second Linux has my key and the public key, so it allows me to um, connect to the second Linux without using any password. So the command is like this: SSH dash copy dash ID and the username. Username was Ubuntu and the remote IP address was 192.168.1.1. Because we are using another port, you can use this port. Probably I should put somewhere else. That's P. Yeah, after here. Dash P. I should put it here. 1 dash P 2222 and Ubuntu 192.168.1.1. You see that? So then yes, what is the password? Ubuntu. Ubuntu. Okay. Number of a key added. Now try to make so the key added to my server. Okay. So now how can I verify my connection? Let's verify. Let's check it again. Look, I am in Linux 1. Okay. So if I do this command, what was that before? Oh, we don't have SSH Ubuntu 192.168.1.1 and dash P2222 like this. So I should receive a password, but I didn't receive any password. And now look, if config, I'm in Linux 2. Without asking any password, I'm in Linux 2. Why? Because I copied my keys here. And keys should be located somewhere under, probably under cd um, /ssh we have, or ssh. Yeah. So here, look, cat authorized key. Look, that's the RSA copy key, a public key copied here. So now it knows this. Look, it belongs to this IP address. The good thing is that if you have a like 10 clients or 100 clients, they can copy their keys here. And without asking any password, they can connect to the server. And that's the beauty of using keys when you're doing this way. You know, the old method is based on the password, but this very good one. Also, many cloud technology nowadays, they are using this way. They're using keys to connect to your machine in the cloud. Basically, that's the lab of the SSH. So in this lab, we're going to focus on OpenVPN. So OpenVPN is a virtual private network solution. It is flexible, reliable, and secure, and it belongs to family of SSL TLS VPN stack. So what we are doing, we have two machines here. One of them is Linux 1, Linux 2. So first thing, you should configure your network configuration. So this one is part of VMnet 19. That's okay. And the second one also should be part of VM19. It has two network interfaces. You can only have one network interface. So I'm gonna delete one of them. So not so then you have two network and like one network interface on Linux 1 and the other one on the Linux 2. So the thing is that you log in with the Linux 1 and we set the IP configuration here. Uh, so I'm gonna do here on the wire setting. So if you look at the document, it says that Linux 1 should be 192.168.110. That's it. And you can put the gateway as 192.168.1.1, but it's not mandatory to put 1.1. You can just leave it at 192.168.110 and 255.255.255.0. Leave blank the gateway. So that's okay for this step. And Linux 2 also should be, if you check the Linux 2, um, this one should be 192.168.1.1. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go on the wire settings and here IPv4 settings. So this is also 1.1. So IP configuration is correct for this lab. And probably if you open, let me open the terminal here. So if you open the terminal, then let me also zoom in. So a sudo -s, you should have a ping of 192.168.1.1. I do have. So that means that you can ping Linux 2. So that's the prerequisite for this lab. That means that you have basic configuration of networking. You can ping, and Linux 1 and Linux 2 have the IP addresses based on the document. So then what you do, you create a share key in the Linux 1 and share this key with the Linux 2. So I'm gonna create a share key here. So open VPN. So you type here open VPN and then dash gen key and then secret. So that's the name of the key that I'm creating here. I put it mykey.key. So look now, you have mykey.key here. So how does it look like? If you cat mykey.key, it is like the key that you have. Basically, this is like a symmetric encryption. Means that you have one key and you're sharing that key with the other operating system. So what I'm gonna do now, I do scp mykey.key and I copy this key to Linux 2. The IP address of the Linux 2 is 192.168.1.1. The user is Ubuntu. @ 192.168.1.1. So you can put it, look, if you look at here, for example, if I open terminal also here, this is Linux 2, right? So if you do sudo -s here, look, I can put it under this folder /home/Ubuntu. So you can add here /home/Ubuntu, right? We don't have port 22. Basically, maybe, let me see the SSH configuration here. Nano etc sshd.conf. Yeah, SSH
You changed that to
underline conf
right?
config. Yeah, sorry. So nano etc ssh. So you remember that we changed this one in the previous session to sshd_config. So
I changed this one to 2222, so I'm gonna bring it back to default port. So that was for the last video that we had, and then you service SSH restart. So if you do service SSH status, so sorry, status here, look, it's saying that now it is listen to port 22. So we fixed the issue. So now port 22 is enabled. So you know that SCP also by default is using port 22. So now if you do it again, this one on Linux 1, so is asking for fingerprint, you're saying yes, and then that's it. So you copy the my key on there, 192.168.1.1. So let's go to here, ls, my key is here. So you see that we copy that one. So then under Linux 2, you should create also a server.conf file. So you can do it like this, server.conf. Be careful that this file and the server.conf file should be in the same folder. So we are putting them in the same directory. So we create a device tunnel, and then if config, that's the IP address for a tunnel that you're assigning. For example, I am assigning IP address for local to 1.1.1.1, to the remote one, the peer one, I put it as 1.1.1.2. And then I'm gonna say here that okay, my secret key is my key.key. That file that I copied here. And I save it. So now in Linux 2, if you do open VPN --config and then server.conf, you should have this result. That means that is waiting for local. So we come back to Linux 1. And under Linux 1, we do the same thing because we have here, if you do ls, we have my key.key. So here, and then you create the kind of file, we call that one as a client.conf. That's a configuration for client. So then here, we are saying now, okay, our remote IP address is 192.168.1.1, and then device tunnel, that you create a tunnel. So this time, when you're writing the IP address, you're saying that the local IP address is 1.2, and the remote one is 1.1.1.1. And then last one, secret, is my key.key. Okay, so save it. Then if you do now open VPN --config and then client.conf, so you see that it's trying, you see that here, the tunnel is up, and then you created peer connection between an initialization completed. So that's like a peer-to-peer connection between this Linux and this one. So it's like a VPN between a tunnel between Linux 1 and Linux 2. So that's it for OpenVPN. So as you can see here, Docker is an open platform for developing, achieving, and running application. So for many years, we were using different type of for managing application. Like we had the physical host, and then on top of a physical host, we had like a VMs. So that we are doing now, like this was in the past that we had like
hardware layer, and then on top of hardware layer, we had VM1, VM2, and that VM, we install, for example, application on top of this VM and database for here. But then they realize that, okay, we are losing a lot of resources because, for example, if this application is so light, then it's using one VM here, and the other one is using another VM. So then they realize that, okay, how we can have like application, many application on a VM, but the application doesn't have any conflict with each other. Uh, so you know that some applications, when you're installing, for example, 2 or 3 applications, maybe some of them they have conflict with each other, and then you should remove this one, bring it to new VM, and say that, okay, you sit here. And then you lose a lot of resources. For example, if you add one CPU for this one and 4 gig RAM, then you should add another CPU for this one, for example, 2 gig RAM for this one. So you see that you're losing a lot of resources. Then the new concept came, that's Docker. Basically, Docker is saying that, okay, that's the same hardware that we have. Also, that picture is better. I'm not drawing a new picture. Um, so the Docker basically is, if I remove this one, okay, okay. Look, this is like um, Docker. So basically, we have host operating system and infrastructure here. That's the hardware layer. That's the operating system layer. And then on top of that, you have Docker. Docker is like a um, kind of VM. We can say kind of VM, but under Docker, you can install a different type of application. And for example, application A doesn't have a conflict with the application B, but all of them are on a single operating system. The point is that single operating system, multiple application. So in the past, if we compare it with the past scenario, we had multiple operating system, multiple application. So this one is a single operating system with different applications. That's very, very good concept if you want to manage different resources. Like remember that we had a lab previously, then we wanted to install Apache and Nginx together. That's a very good example. For example, if you want to install a normal operating system, if you want to have Apache and Nginx together, you cannot. So one of them should be a stop and the other one should be a started, right? Um, Here under Docker, you can have Apache and Nginx, both of them, and they can be run together, and they don't have any conflict with each other. So we're gonna do this kind of things to learn about Docker, this kind of new technology. So there are many things that you should learn about the Docker. This is like a very basic concept of the Docker that we are doing here. Um, it's not very complicated one. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add to Linux 2. You can use Linux 1 also. Um, I'm gonna add a network adapter here because I need the internet. So, and then put that one as a NAT. So that's my second interface. Um, and you have a NAT, then you have internet. So Ubuntu, look, how can I verify that I have internet? Ping 4224. There you go, you have internet. And then clear my screen. So first thing, you should install Docker. There are many ways that you can install Docker, but the easiest way that you can install Docker is using curl. Um, that command that you see also in the document with ranchers. A rancher is a kind of package that you can add, but it includes that
Docker packages that you need. So you don't need to go step by step installation of Docker. So what I'm gonna do, just because I copied this one, so is http release rancher.com, and then so maybe we don't have a curl. Yeah, it's asking for curl. So because this one is not enabled by default, we're gonna install apt-get install curl. There you go. And then you install this package. So this one automatically install whatever you need for Docker. So you just say it and it will execute Docker for you. All right. So once you have uh, this this one or Docker installed successfully, if you do Docker, then container ls. So it shows that containers that you have created so far. I haven't created any container, that's why here is empty. Let's create a Docker container. Docker run dash itd. Each container should have a name. I put the name of the first container as a C1. Each container also can use a port number. So for example, for Nginx, I add port 8081, which is mapped to port 80. That means that we are entering 8081, but Docker is reading that one as port 80. And then I write the package name, Nginx. So I try to pull that images. And now if you do this one, look, Docker container ls, look, now it has Nginx and it is enabled on port 8081. So I'm gonna do this one for also another container. We'll call it C2, port number, for example, 8082. And then this one, I want to add it for Apache, HTTPD 2.4. That's the way that we are doing on CentOS. Basically, when you want to install CentOS Apache, we are writing HTTPD. So if you do this command, then you can pull the images again. So now if you do Docker container ls, look, now you have two container. One of them is this Apache, the other one is Nginx. So look, now that's the fun part. If you open the browser and type here, if I browser open here, okay, local host and port 8081. 8081 was system, open the link, VS, you should put here HTTP, doesn't understand HTTP, local host, port 8081. Okay, that's Nginx, right? So if I do this one for port 8082, that's Apache. You see that Nginx and Apache, both of them, they are working together. And that's fun part, that you're using Docker and container to manage both of them on a single operating system. You see that we have single operating system, 2 containers, and 2 applications. Each container contains 1 application. To see the logs for each container, you can go Docker, for example, logs C1. I want to see C1. That's a log related to container number 1 that I opened through the Firefox. It's saying that this port 8081 is requested, and that's a response. So let's do this one with C2. We have the same logs because we open both the 8081 and 8082 through the Firefox browser. So you see that both of them logs as Firefox, and we get this one, like it works, and this one also the first page of the Nginx. So if you want to see the container list, as I said, is Docker container list. For example, you want to delete or stop one container. So you just write here Docker stop, and then the name of the container. For example, C1. I want to stop C1. Then C1 will be stopped. And if you want to remove it, you just write here RM. Then look, if you do Docker container ls, you only have the second container. You have removed the first container. So there are many things here. If you do Docker --help, it will show you a lot of options. Like if you want to attach, copy file, execute, run commands, kill any Dockers, or list the images, log in to the Docker registry. Docker is huge. It can be a 1 course, but we just have a short lab to understand the basic concept of Docker.